Gene Key 50. Welcome to my new neighborhood. Just out for a walk. I don't have my normal microphone and tripod, but I thought I'm going to give a little go for this contemplation. The shadow of corruption, the gift of equilibrium, and the city of harmony. As I'm sitting up here, the sun shining on me, just reflecting on the journey of life that is explained through the shadow to the gift to the city through the lens of the gene keys, this journey of vibration, elevating our vibration to experience the fullest potential, our highest potential as human beings. And we've been so programmed and conditioned to believe in a lot of limitations. And of course, we have limitations as humans. We only live so long. We have certain needs. And yet, a lot of the limitations are self imposed. And this time that we find ourselves in is where we're waking up to our full potential. And when we are able to hold these higher frequencies of light, we can experience completely new ways of being. And the lower body, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, not lower from a negative sense or a less than, but just they in spirituality and different traditions, they speak of the different bodies that we have: the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the causal body, the atmic body, and the buddhic body. And those final three are the higher planes of existence, which we can't see with our eyes or talk about much. But the acidic level is where Richard Rudd uses language to sort of speak to these higher frequencies that more and more people are beginning to experience, and many ancient cultures have talked about in various ways. So getting into the shadow of corruption, that is when we're very limited in our view, and we're victims of our reality. We're victims of our physicality or our emotions, and we get caught up in chaos and confusion and corruption, and we stay in this wheel of samskaras, what they spoke about, many ancient cultures have spoken about. And yet we can escape it, and it takes a lot of work to escape it, and it takes a lot of discipline to escape it, and it takes awareness to even know that we can escape this wheel of karma or samskaras or whatever suffering word you want to use. And I love how he speaks about corruption being the corrupt data. Like when we hear, oh yeah, corrupt data, that, files are missing or can't read it properly. And if we think of our DNA being corrupted by karma or our lineage, things passed down through our lineage, our ancestors, baggage, and we believe in the limitations that have been programmed in us, and that creates fear within us, which then creates corrupt systems, which we are starting to see the destruction of, because so many people have been doing the inner work. And this, now we get into the level of the gift of equilibrium, and finding equilibrium within ourselves by willing to bring love to the corrupt parts of ourselves, or the fear-based programming that we have all been conditioned with. And we find some kind of balance within us. He uses the word contemplation and the art of contemplation as a sort of middle way on our path of evolution, where it's like if you hold a rope too tight, it will snap. If you hold it too loose, it loses its strength. And the two paths of love and and seeking to evolve and to higher states and giving it all of our dedication is one side, and then just being the silent witnesser, the path of the wisdom, and doing absolutely nothing, and finding the balance between those two worlds is what he refers to as contemplation. Bringing both. And equilibrium is being able to have the discipline and have the habits in our life that encourage us when things get tough. And on our paths, we will all face initiations to keep our equilibrium. It's never something that is just, we've got there, we've attained it. And I think we have such this idea in our culture that, once I have this, then, I'll be stable forever, or I'll be safe forever, or I've just been thinking about that as if you've been following my contemplations, I've just moved into a house and reflecting on how many times I've moved, and just the mentality that I had when I bought my first house and the age that I was at, and in some part of my mind thinking like, this is going to be forever, like I'm going to live here forever, and just how many changes have happened since that time, which I'm so grateful for. The constant growth and learning and joy that comes with evolving and going through intense initiations, where in the dilemma of the shadow, he speaks of this passivity, where sometimes the challenge is just being passive, like there's nothing I can do about the corruption out there in the world. Meanwhile, everything is within us. Everything starts inside of us. To get to the roots of corruptions, we have to go inside. And the way to experience harmony in our own life, but in our collective lives, is for each one to go in and do the work of pulling out the malware, the corrupt data in our DNA that's woven in our DNA, and bringing love to that, mining the wisdom, and then using our energy really creatively for ourselves to create new systems, which will emerge. The world and the corruption that we see in the world out there is becoming very, very visible, because so many people are getting very visible with their own inner programs and beliefs. And as we do this, I was just reading my journal actually yesterday. I was talking to myself 2 years ago when I was really feeling confused and facing a lot of my fears and doubting. And the words to myself were like, it gets really challenging when you're really close to the clearing. And hearing from different teachers and mentors that it does get easier. There is a clarity after confusion, and feeling this wisdom that was coming through me and pouring through me in my journal to myself, and reading that back just the other day to see like where life has brought me after those 2 years. I was so right about the clarity, and the initiations are there to strengthen us, to strengthen our ability to keep the equilibrium, which then at the citic level, we achieve harmony and peace. And we tap into the higher frequencies that we have the potential of, as a collective, achieving this connection to our wholeness that is beyond just the physical, the emotional, and the mental, but the atmic, the buddhic, and the causal plane these other frequencies that are unseen to our eyes, but more and more people are becoming aware of them. And it's not about not honoring the physical, it's the opposite. It's when we honor all of the frequencies, we have such a deeper, enriching experience as a human. And it's an exciting time to be alive, so long as we do not remain victims to the perceived chaos or the perceived corruption. And what we judge, we attract, and there comes the love and the wisdom and the higher perspective of what's unfolding in our reality. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this Gene Key 50 and any of its themes? And I'll see you in the next video.